Theo Von with Trump is a wild combo I didn't know I needed, and for an hour I enjoyed living in whatever dimension we're in where this is possible. I used to want Trump to go on Rogan, but after seeing him on this past weekend, in my humble opinion, Theo did it way better than Joe ever would have. The timing couldn't have been better with Trump throwing shade at Joe Rogan this last week. It's rare to see Trump sit down with someone who isn't part of the propaganda machine, and that's what made this so refreshing. I was hoping Theo wouldn't fold and try to play the role of a serious interviewer, and he didn't. He kept it 100, treating Trump just like he does everyone else on this past weekend. No sellout, just straight up real talk.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be out on your own porch, you know. And you'll be your own street lamp.
They touched on politics, of course, but they also discussed the UFC, Kid Rock, and Theo even managed to get Trump to almost laugh a couple of times.
He's a real dirt serpent too, dude. He's a freaking legend, you know.
But it wouldn't be an episode of this past weekend if they didn't dive into the heavy stuff like addiction and loss. Theo always finds a way to take the conversation where most wouldn't, and even with Trump, he didn't shy away from those deeper, more human topics. It was fun to hear Trump talking to Theo from the start when he didn't even know they were rolling.
But your thing is going really great. My son's a big fan of yours, Barron.
Really, Barron is?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
he just graduated high school, right?
That's right. He just did. He knows you very well. He said, "Dad, he's big."
Wow.
Yeah, big one.
That's cool.
So that's good. Well, that's where it is nowadays, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You know, I can't believe that we're able to get platforms. And I started in my kitchen, and then it's evolved out of there.
That's fantastic.
I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. What does Barron play?
Do you want to start? You go ahead.
Yeah, we're good. Are we rolling?
Yeah, sure.
We're good. Yeah, that's does Barron play sports or anything?
He does.
Trump's not wrong. Theo's got something special going on, and having Trump on the show is only going to take it to the next level. The chat about Barron naturally steers Theo into asking about Trump's other sons. When Trump brings up Don Jr. being a top-tier hunter, it leads to the only moment in the entire podcast where they touched on the assassination attempt. In true Theo fashion, he throws out a joke at the end and actually gets Trump to chuckle.
Which one of your kids, what's something you admire about each one of your sons?
Well, Don is a hunter. He's a great, great hunter, and knows everything about that world and guns and all. He was the first one that said, "Dad, boy, you got lucky," because I didn't realize that 130 yards is actually very close in that parlance. And he said, "You got lucky." He knew immediately when he saw that. He said, "It's incredible," because that's considered a pretty close distance.
From how far the shooter was?
Yeah.
Oh,
And the guy wasn't a bad shooter, supposedly. You know, he was a very disturbed guy, but he wasn't a bad shooter. With their grandfather, and he would take them hunting in Czechoslovakia, and somehow they developed very well. And
Czechoslovakia,
yeah,
damn.
can you imagine?
It's a lot of letters even.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a name you don't hear too much anymore, but it was...
I'd need a scope just to get through the spelling of that word.
That's right.
I think,
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Theo mentions how he likes chatting with Trump's sons at UFC events, which naturally brings up Dana White, the guy who actually made this whole interview happen.
I love UFC. You talk about a great guy. How about Dana White?
Yeah.
Good job he does, right?
Yeah. I want to thank Dana, too, for helping get us set up together. Yeah.
Theo deserves props for staying true to himself. He asked Trump if he remembers the first fight he attended, and it turns out to be the legendary Ali versus Frazier. Trump's answer? It was such a monumental event that it caused a bunch of heart attacks.
You would never forget it. That was one of those moments.
Oh, yeah.
But no, literally, there were like many heart attacks in the arena.
Just people having too much fun, or what do you think? It was
just
drugs?
having heart attacks because it was such a crazy event.
Oh, yeah.
It was so, the people were just, I know a friend of mine, the father, he had a bad heart attack. Literally, they took him out. They were taking people out.
It's an early KO.
And I don't hear that anymore. I mean, there were other exciting sporting events. I don't think there's ever been, I don't know, I guess there has, but you would think Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, their first fight. But it was a very exciting time.
Well, yeah, and just people being, I guess, sometimes our systems aren't ready to handle the amount of excitement that's going on, you know? I think, maybe people just couldn't even handle so much joy. You think it was that people were just so excited.
They had heart attacks.
Yeah.
I mean, they just had, I guess they do it, maybe Super Bowls or something.
Oh, people have heart attacks eating a thick soup, you know? So it's I'm not surprised that something so awesome like that would make your heart be like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, but I never hear of it, you know, and
Anymore.
I'm sure it happens.
I couldn't find any specifics about heart attacks from the Ali versus Frazier fight, but Theo's instinct to question if it was drugs makes total sense. It was New York in 1971, during one of the biggest events of the century, definitely a scene where people were living it up. Speaking of living it up, nobody does it better than Kid Rock. a guy who's tight with both Trump and Theo.
Yeah, I'll see you coming with Kid Rock and and you don't drink at the fights.
By the way, Kid Rock is he's terrific. He came to the convention. He knocked everybody out. He was fantastic. He's a great guy. He's just a great guy. He's popular, very popular.
Oh, he's a real dirt serpent too, dude. He's a freaking legend, you know.
No,
he's a legend.
He is a legend,
Yeah.
I guess, in a true sense.
Oh, 100%. People love him, dude. Look at him. I went to his show not long ago somewhere, and people, I think some guy had a heart attack there too, but it was more funnel cake related, I think, type of vibes.
He draws big crowds, actually. It's amazing. I saw one. He was out someplace recently at 80,000 people. He's big stuff, but he's forget about that. I call him Bob, his name Bob, right? It's Bob, Kid Rock, but it's Bob. But he's a really good guy. And
I've been over to his house
he's a cool cat, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I live in Nashville. Right when I got into town, he hit me up one night and was like, hey, man, I'm having a birthday party this weekend. You should come. And I didn't even know him, and it was nice of him. And since then, we've done a lot of fun stuff together. His brother's missing a leg, too, which is crazy. He looks like the lamp. Have you ever seen that movie, The Lamp, from a Christmas Story or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's fantastic.
I lost it when Theo referred to Kid Rock as a dirt serpent, and Trump had to be like, what the is this carny talking about? Theo's podcast is now what Joe Rogan's used to be, an insane variety of guests, interesting and funny conversations without the same 4 to 5 talking points brought up in every single episode. This interview proves that Rogan's excuse to not interview Trump is complete BS. It was refreshing to see Theo just being himself around one of the most famous people on the planet. Leave it to Theo to casually drop a comparison between a one-legged man and a leg lamp from A Christmas Story. That's the kind of off-the-wall humor that Theo can pull off, and it's exactly why this interview is so enjoyable.
I noticed at the events, you don't drink, and you don't drink or smoke, right?
I don't drink or smoke. No.
You never have?
No, I never have. I had a great brother who taught me a lesson. Don't drink. And he said, don't smoke. He smoked and he drank, and he was a great guy. He was a very handsome guy.
Is he older? He was older?
Quite a bit older, yeah. And he had a problem with alcohol and smoke a lot. But, I tell people, no drugs, no drinking, no cigarettes.
Yeah.
I tell that to my kids all the time. I'd say, no drugs, no drinking, no smoke. And
it was tough.
He'd always tell me, he'd say never. So he was, really old enough that you would look up to somebody, and I'd look up to him anyway.
Did you admire him?
Yeah, I admired so much about him. He had so much going. He had the look. What
was his name?
Unbelievable personality, an incredible personality.
What was his name, Donald?
His name was Fred Trump.
Theo definitely deserves more props for keeping it real and asking the kind of questions he'd throw at anyone on his podcast. Instead of going for the usual political stuff Trump's always ready for, Theo steered the conversation towards general questions about Trump's friends and family. It was a smart move, letting Trump show a different side while keeping the vibe relaxed and authentic.
They say alcohol is tougher than drugs to get off of. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I'm in recovery, actually. I've been in recovery, so most of the last 10 years.
From alcohol?
From drugs and alcohol.
So which is worse?
For me, drugs is the problem, but if I have a drink, then it's tougher for me to prevent myself from getting.
It sets off a chain.
Yeah.
But which is harder to quit? I've heard alcohol is harder to quit than drugs, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine because it's probably more readily available.
And it's social, and you're sitting and everyone's drinking and all.
Yeah, rarely do you go to a dinner and everybody's eating Xanaxes or something, for appetizers. Right. Usually people are having a mint julep or something a little fancier, Negroni I just learned about.
Right.
But yeah.
So you have a problem with that then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's been in my family. My family, it's yeah.
Can you stay away from it?
Yeah, I've done a good job.
So how long have you been off?
I go to recovery meetings. I've been off most recently a little over 2 years.
Do you ever go back on?
Yeah, I've had stints where I go back on
and you don't control it.
It's tough. It goes downhill pretty quick.
No kidding. So
you think it's going to be easy?
You think you're controlling it?
And then you're
Boy,
you're
that's
doing
tough.
your go-kart and racing with hookers and stuff. It gets bad.
Just not to do it, right?
Right. So then in the end, you're like, I have to not do it.
In true This Past Weekend style, Theo opened up about his drug use with the 45th President of the United States, even admitting to Trump that the powder led to go-kart races with ladies of the night. It's moments like this that show how Theo can keep it real no matter who's sitting across from him. Theo's honesty allowed Trump to open up about his experiences.
I had a friend who went to the Wharton School of Finance with me. He was a very smart guy.
Where is it, Wharton School?
That's in Philadelphia. That's at Penn.
Oh, yeah. Rocky.
Right. And it's a great school, great business school. And it's part of the University of Pennsylvania, the business school. At
Oh, it's
the
nice
university.
down there.
Yeah.
My friend's brother went there or something.
Well,
We ate near there
Then he
once.
was smart because it's a great school. But this person that I met, he hated the taste of scotch. Hated it. Couldn't stand it. But he insisted on having it because he felt it was important to be able to drink. I said, no, just don't drink. He said, to be successful in business, you have to sort of interact and you have to drink. And I said, don't do it. Anyway, he became an unbelievable alcoholic, uncontrollable alcoholic.
Oh, I thought you meant like one of the
died.
best.
Yeah, and he died. He was but he hated the taste of scotch.
And he still
And then
did
he
it.
couldn't live without it.
Wow.
Literally.
Well, I think I notice a lot of like in the recovery rooms and stuff, it's a lot of people that they're missing something inside of them. And so they take on like, so they want to try and fill it up with something else.
Theo didn't shy away from pressing Trump about his relationship with his brother, but Trump, being more polished than most of Theo's guests, kept it on the surface. He didn't delve too deep, but he did open up just enough to say he admires his brother for battling his addiction. It's a rare glimpse of vulnerability from Trump, and you can tell Theo's approach brought out something you don't often see. Around the halfway mark, Theo starts dropping what seems like more prepared questions, like asking Trump what he'd do to tackle the drug epidemic if he gets back in office. Trump's response? He mentions having committees in place, but if you're familiar with the business world, you know committees just meet without really solving any problems. It's one of those moments where you can sense the gap between political talk and real-world action, but Theo provides levity.
Literally, the time is so short. If you take it for like 2 weeks, you're almost addicted to it. It's incredible when you
well, all of that is horrible. But
How
why
did
do
you
we
get
allow
How
that
did
to
you get addicted? How did...
No, I would just do cocaine. That was really, So not just,
That's
it was
that's down and dirty, right?
Yeah. And this is, I mean, it was,
But you don't anymore?
No, I don't do it anymore, man. And I'm not doing it.
Is it too much? Too much to handle?
Some of the stuff started to get a real rattle in it too. I don't know where we were even getting it from in this country, but it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or something.
So the thing you go back to then is alcohol for the most part.
Right. Yeah. But what I want probably is cocaine, but I know that if I have a drink, then it'll be like, okay, well, I had a drink, then I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger up?
Yeah. Cocaine
So
will make
you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be out on your own porch, and you'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking.
And is that a good feeling?
No,
it's
horrible.
a miserable feeling.
But you do it anyway, just like the guy you're saying with the scotch.
Saying powder will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You'll be your own street lamp to a literal president is just incredible. Powder will turn you into a damn owl, homie. Words never spoken to a U.S. president until this moment. It cracks me up that Theo is calling a U.S. president homie. Man, brother, and dude, like he's just a random guy at a gas station. Classic Theo. Theo and Trump keep talking about the drug epidemic in America, but Trump doesn't really give a firm answer. Probably because there isn't a simple one. Instead of pushing a political agenda, the conversation flows more naturally, with Trump often flipping the question back to Theo, letting him share his own ideas on how to tackle the issue.
But why does the establishment keep trying to sink you? Like, what is it that they are so afraid of?
Well, in some cases, the things we're talking about right now, they want to sell product that I'm not interested in. They want to have certain boats and certain chips and certain planes and certain everything bought. Pharma is another one that's, interesting.
Or do they push back against you think?
Yeah, I think they do. Well, I think it's pretty obvious that they do. In one way, that's a positive thing politically, because when you can show that they push back, the voters seem to like it. But we have a lot of popularity. We have a lot of people that want to see me come back and win, because we had a great time. We had the greatest economy in history when I was president. We had
my cousin got a boat.
Numbers. Yeah, we had the best job.
We had the best economy when I was in office. Hell yeah, my cousin bought a boat during that, bro. Theo's question puts Trump in a bit of a tight spot when Trump claims that Big Pharma is against him. That feels more like a political move than reality. If you consider Operation Warp Speed, which Trump spearheaded, it seems like Big Pharma would actually be on his side. But by saying they're against him, Trump's tapping into a sentiment that resonates with a large chunk of Americans who distrust Big Pharma. It's a clever way to align himself with the crowd, even if the truth might be more complex. The conversation naturally shifts from Big Pharma to the cost of medical services, and unsurprisingly, it comes down to money.
Who's behind the healthcare, insurance, that whole thing? Like, who's behind it all? It feels like Chuck Schumer is this kind of like deviant mastermind back there somewhere.
Well, he's one of the people that is hurt, and he's one of the people that keeps the prices high. And he's, gets a lot of contributions from the people on the other side. And him and plenty of other people, a lot of people. It's a very powerful lobby.
But when they
want the most powerful lobby, the lawyer lobby. That feeds into that also. It all feeds into it.
Wait, hold on, just so I understand, Donald. Sorry. So that lobby is a very powerful one.
Yeah.
But why do those people want people to suffer though? Just so they can make money?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it really has to do with money.
That's crazy. How much money do they
probably
need?
start off by saying this is terrible, and then they eventually say, well.
But can we just as a country say, hey, how much? Okay, you need $3 million. We'll give you that. Fuck off.
Yeah.
We want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like, can't we make a deal with those people?
They're very tough to deal with.
This podcast was a breath of fresh air. Seeing Theo talk to Trump like he's just a regular guy, calling him Donald, and even dropping the F-bomb. It felt real and unfiltered. But when Theo asked those deeper questions, we never really get a solid answer from Trump. No shade on Trump, though. The reality is, the stuff he deals with would probably melt most people's minds. Theo did manage to get a direct answer from Trump about whether he considered RFK as a running mate.
There's a rumor that you almost had RFK Jr. as a potential vice president.
No.
Okay. Just a rumor.
Yeah,
and
I like him. I've always liked him. But
I like him too. Bobby and I are friends. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for years.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He's in there pitching. It's tough. It's a two-party system, and he's a third party. It's a tough thing. He can't get registered now in New York. I see New York, and the Democrats have really opposed him vehemently. I haven't, but the Democrats have really opposed him.
So you think he should be allowed to run everywhere?
Well, the laws don't allow that.
Okay.
And the laws don't allow, unless you have 15 or 20%, whatever it is, they don't allow you to debate. You don't have to debate, so you can't get on the stage. You can't. And the debates are very important. I mean, I had a debate with Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, I saw
that was a very consequential debate.
Given that Trump has already chosen Vance as his running mate, admitting to considering RFK would have been a bit awkward. By sticking to a clear no, Trump avoids any potential fallout or confusion. Theo delivers a well-thought-out statement about the debates. It's one that most Americans would likely resonate with.
Well, after that, it seemed like suddenly everybody had been like, oh, Biden's fine. In America for like 18 months. Like, my dad was really old when I was born. My dad was 70 when I was born, right? So I don't like seeing senior citizens taken advantage of, right? I felt like that happened a lot when I was a kid. And so I think for me, it reflected on me, like, it made me really angry because I was like, I know this guy's not well. It's not fair to pretend that he's well.
Yeah.
It's not fair to him because he doesn't know you're pretending, And it just seemed like the cruelest thing you could do. And then we're all kind of supposed to believe this thing that we know is not real. Our media is just saying this is real. And we're all just being gaslit as humans about something that's like moral. Like, this is a human man. This is somebody's grandfather. And then they just disappear. He just disappeared.
Trump gives his take on why Biden disappeared and why Kamala has stepped into the spotlight. Theo, as always, brings his unique sense of humor to the mix, adding some levity to the discussion.
It was a coup.
Kamala is the one that went in. What do you think happened in the back rooms there? Because that almost was overnight that happened.
I know what happened. And you're not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to be probably constitutional. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. All of a sudden, they're telling him to get out, or they threatened him.
But who are
and
they
when they say that? He is an angry person. Well, I would say Schumer, Pelosi, and numerous other people. The heads of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Thugs.
And they did. They threatened him violently, I think. And he didn't want to get out. Remember, he said, only God will get me out, right? Only God will get me.
Somebody dressed up like God and just chased him out of there.
Trump believes that if Biden hadn't debated him, he'd still be running for president. According to Trump, the debate was a turning point that led to the Democrats to push for Kamala into the forefront. When Trump asked Theo about his thoughts on Bernie Sanders, the conversation takes a turn. Theo ends up comparing Sanders to Biden, and his take on Biden is so spot on that it actually makes Trump laugh.
You like Bernie? Are you friends with him or something?
No, I met him the other day.
Was that the first time?
It was the first time.
Were you impressed by him?
Yeah.
One thing, he's still sharp, right?
Oh yeah, he's still sharp.
He doesn't suffer from what Biden did.
No.
Mental dullness.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
mentally gone.
Biden is
Mentally
like,
gone.
He's somebody put a merry-go-round in his head, I heard. But that's, but they didn't plug it in. They didn't tell him.
Yeah, that's probably right.
This might not be my favorite Theo podcast, but it's definitely my favorite Trump interview. Trump opened up more than he usually does, and that's all thanks to Theo. Props to him for getting Trump to reveal a side we don't often see. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear what you think.
She won't be interviewed.
She's welcome to come on. I would love to get to talk to her.
I'm sure she'd be very exciting. Actually, you could make her exciting, probably.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody said she's a good roller skater. That's what I heard, which is crazy.
That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're going to wrap it up soon, okay?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
please.
saying? Okay, done.